I'm Chris, TKG Studios, and I am going to talk to you today about the new version of Super Special Delivery, which is being developed right now. Now, I've gotten sort of far in developing the systems for the game. I'm getting to a point where we're going to start working on art, so I want to start making some blogs about how the game is being developed, what systems are in the game, things like that, so you guys can kind of get a little bit familiar with the game. I'm going to go ahead and show you the game here. And as you can see, we have this really cool proxy model of Terry Bogard from the SNK vs. Capcom game for the Neo Geo Pocket, because this is sort of the art style that we're going to go for in this game. So 2D beat 'em up. It's got a lot of systems. We have a special move system. We have a super move system. We have extensive, combo reward system, things like that. And so today, what I want to do is just kind of show you a little bit of gameplay, and then I want to show you sort of how I'm building this game, and we're going to talk about how I built the live system. So let's just get into it. Let me show you the game first. Okay, so that's basically the game. Um, well, I mean, obviously there's a lot more to it than that, but it's a 2D beat 'em up game, and it has a few systems. If you noticed, I totally whiffed my super move there, but there's a super move system, sort of kind of like Streets of Rage 4, where there's a resource which is represented here by the. Let's go ahead and just zoom in a little bit so you can see more of the UI here by this proxy sort of diamond shape, and you can get as many as of those resources as you can find within the game. There's a super move system which is controlled by this blue bar here. If you notice, he did his kind of power geyser that was representing the super move, and we have a combo system. So there's a lot of systems that are already built out. Today, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the live system and how this was built, and then what we can also do is just kind of look at the process and how I'm building this game. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to a game developer on the Unity store. His name is Osarion. I'm using his template. So I started using the beat 'em up gameplay template. This is the second version of this. It's a lot better than the last version. If you know from the last version of Super Special Delivery, it was being built on the original version of this template. But we're basically we're building it starting from there. But there's a lot of features that this template doesn't have. Now, I'm not saying don't get the template. I think it's a great start if you want to create a 2D beat 'em up like we're creating right now. But there's a lot of stuff that you're gonna have to build on your own, and I want to kind of go through what features that I built out. And the first thing is the live system. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and don't need this object anymore because we're using fmod, which I'll go into at some other point. But what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to remove this music event here right now. And I just want to show you sort of the live system in the game. So if I start the game up, so most 2D beat 'em ups will have this feature where if you are killed, your character will disappear, fall from the sky, and they will all of your enemies will be knocked back. Sometimes the characters will be invincible for a short period of time. Here it goes right there, and you'll lose a life. So if you notice, my lives went from 5 to 4. I'm gonna let this happen one more time so you can kind of see what's going on here. Taking a minute to kill me. Kill me, guys. Come on. Here we go. So my lives went from 4 to 3 here. I fall down, and everybody gets knocked down. Now, this is not a feature that is built in the that is out of the box in the template. So what did I do here? So what I had to do in order to build this was I have a script called Player Lives. Okay, and it has a few events. It's got it keeps track of your initial lives, it keeps track of your max lives, and your current lives. Basically, on start, we set the current lives to the initial lives because we want to do that on every level, right? So at some point, we'll have an options menu where we can choose your difficulty, and you'll say something like, okay, if you want easy mode, you get 7 lives. If you want really hard mode, you get 2 or 1 life or whatever. And so that's going to set the initial lives each stage. We have functions. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see this. We have functions for adding lives, for subtracting lives, and then we have a function for sending the event to the UI. I like to do this so I can kind of like separate out this logic and figure out like where things are going wrong. But all that does is we have the UI that has that I had to add a text variable for current lives. And on subscribe, we on enable, we're going to subscribe to this update lives function, and all that does is if the current lives is none or null, we return, and then it sets the text to however many lives you have. And I have it as a string d2 because, as you can see, I kind of want this. I like this aesthetic of having 0 in front of the number, just in case. So in the UI here, I had to go ahead and add in the health bar, I have this lives text, which is what this is right here, obviously. And then player health bar, that script that we're just looking at, gets attached to the player health bar, put the current lives there. Now, that was for, now also in the health system, when the the character dies, so I have in the health system, if the character dies, subtract health, unit death, game object, add health, subtract health, send event. Sorry, I need to find it. Where did I put it? Okay, so subtract licensed player, and then I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Oh yeah, so on death, that's what it is. Sorry. So on death, on death I subtract the lives. So I'm subscribing to this on unit death um, event that comes from the health system. So in the health system, when if I subtract health, if my health is lower than 0, then I send this on unit death function, and this player lives script is subscribing to that event. When that happens, I remove lives, and that's pretty much it. So that's kind of how that works under the hood. Now, there is an event that needs to be sent when the player comes back, and I also have these like flicker and spawn settings that get checked when the player dies. So if I find a reference to that, so so I have these flicker and spawn settings that on unit death. So unit death is a state. So this template has a really nice state machine that makes it really easy to create new states and alter states. So the state that you're in when you die is death, right? Unit death. So here I had to add this. I just had to add a reference to, I had to add a instance of the player flicker and respawn settings, which I created. When you die, it will basically check to see, when something dies, it checks to see if that unit is a player and the current lives is over 0. And then if it does, it disables the enemy AI for a second. It does the flicker action, and then it adds a start delay to it. So there's a script called flicker and spawn set flicker and move, which I also created, which is basically just a copy of we have another uh, we have another flicker like script that comes with the engine where um, basically when an enemy dies, it flickers and then dies, disappears, destroys. So instead of destroying, I basically do the same thing on start, but instead of destroying, I have a respawn sequence here. Now this is a lot of logic here. Basically, all it does is it checks my sprite renderers. It gets the sprite renderer, it gets the state machine, it gets the player lives component, and it gets the input manager. Because in the input manager, I want to be able to disable the movement options, which is also something that I have inside the input manager. I have these input options able to be disabled and enabled whenever. So here I disable the input options, and then I set the camera shake on land to true. I have a setting within the unit settings that is camera shake on land, which means when I jump in, I want to be able to shake the camera because it's a cool little effect. And then here, I'm checking to see if the sprite renderers are null. If so, we're gonna not do anything. And then I have a camera follow, camera follow function, which removes the player from the target so that you don't get that like the camera following the target as he goes up into the air. It only follows him on the way down. And the reason for that is that I'm doing a little trick here where I'm setting the jump height. I'm changing the jump height, and then I'm having the player, when the player's dead, jump, and then I am sending the player back down, enabling the sprite renderer, and then enabling the AI. So that's where you get that kind of like jump in from the top sort of effect, and then the camera follows the player character from the top to the bottom. And so that's basically the entire logic. Oh, and then also, let's see, I also have a new function inside of here for knocking down enemies. It just gets all the enemies in the enemy list, knocks them down, sets their state to knockdown. That's pretty much how it works. So let's just look at it again, just so you guys can kind of see. I'm gonna have music on this time. There you go. And there you go. That's the sequence. So that's how it works. Oh, that was adding the function for lives and the respawn sequence into the game. We'll do another video of these where I show another system that I built from the ground up using this template. Again, shout out to Asurian. If you're trying to build a 2D beat 'em up with Unity, definitely get this